All right, what is up, you guys? So we're back. The prequel to this series was the Nutrition 101 series. So if you missed that one, go check that out. 5-part video series on how to sort out the nutrition side of the training and nutrition equation, right? My goal with this series, the Training 101, is to give you guys the skills, the knowledge, the education, just the overall wherewithal to feel like you know your way around the gym when you step in there, so you don't feel like a complete beginner if you are one, or if you've been running programs for a long time, you already know your way around the gym. I want to educate you to be able to write your own programming based on your own individual skills and needs. So very valuable skill to not have to like robotically stick to a structured program. You need to have the give and take to be able to kind of auto-regulate this stuff on your own. So the first mandatory step that you cannot skip under any circumstances is you have to have a tank top that you've had for at least 8 years, right? It has to become your favorite tank top. You have to wear it at least 3 times a week. So that's rule number one. The people who have been with me for a while know I wear this tank top all the time, but I promise my hygiene is on point. It's always clean. I wash it. I do a lot of laundry so that I can always wear my favorite tank top that you see here. So shout out to RVCA and PacSun from about 10 years ago probably. So Training 101, part 1 is why, right? Like, why are we going to the gym? Like, it's super important to get clear on why you're doing something. That increases motivation to do it, increases the likelihood that you'll stick with this program that you write. So part 1, why? So what are some valid reasons for going to the gym, right? So number 1, stronger for everyday life, right? Like, you're grabbing your groceries, trying to get them up to the 3rd floor of your apartment. You're gonna be better at that, right? Like, who wouldn't wanna be stronger? Like, unless you're out there, like, it's the weak life for me, man. The weaker, the better. I love being weak. Like, I don't think anyone would say that. So number 2 is like the physical appearance. Maybe you wanna increase the size of your muscles, right? A lot of people have that goal. Number 3, maintain muscle size when losing fat. That's very important. We'll get into both of those later, but basically your training and what you're doing in the gym has to line up with what you're doing on the nutrition side of things, or you're gonna be spinning your wheels, making no progress. So that's super huge there. 4 is increased sport performance, right? Usually the stronger you get, the better you're gonna be at any type of sport that you're playing. 5 is longevity, right? It's just overall good for you to be stronger. And then 6, and most importantly, is it's fun, right? Like, that's kind of should be the biggest reason that we're doing any of this, is because you enjoy it. That's the main thing not to forget throughout this whole process. All right, so next, the 3 outcomes, right? What are the 3 things that can happen from going to the gym? Super important to be clear on this. You can increase your muscle size, you can maintain your muscle size, or you can decrease your muscle size, right? So kind of like the nutrition one, notice what's not on the list. You cannot tone a muscle. There is no clear definition for that. You cannot sharpen, shape up, etc., anything like that. These like subjective words that no one really knows what they mean. Toning, sharpen, shaping up, all that is maintaining muscle while you decrease the amount of body fat covering that muscle, right? So say you're on a massing phase, your goal is to increase the muscle size, and then you start cutting, right? In a cut, your goal is to maintain the muscle that you built during the mass gaining phase so that it appears more toned. Like, being lean while maintaining muscle is what gives you that toned look, right? And then decrease muscle size. Sometimes people want to do that, right? Like, I think the first thing that comes to mind is like an actor, right? If Thor, I think it was, Chris Hemsworth needed to like lose all his muscle from Thor for another role, that might be like, if you're just going for an overall different look, like losing muscle is definitely a viable option, but a lot of times it's not very sought after to lose the hard-earned muscle that you work to gain, because it's very tough to gain muscle. So the last thing we want to do is lose that and throw away all of our work, okay? So yeah, those are the 3 outcomes, or the 3 things that you should be chasing, like, by going to the gym. Those are the reasons you would go. All right, guys, and then finally for this video, I just want to simplify, right? So the nutrition side of the equation is definitely a little more complex, a little more complicated. the training is simple and fun, so do not overcomplicate it, right? So I love to use the story of Milo of Croton, right? So this dude named Milo, he was a 6th century wrestler, right? Like Olympic wrestler in the 6th century, way back, right? So to get stronger in training for his wrestling event, right? This is way back in the day. So he's got this baby calf. I guess he lives on a farm, right? So it's a baby bull calf, right? So he's got this calf. He wants to train for his wrestling competition. So every single day he practices by picking up that baby calf and walking a mile, right? Like, pretty tough thing to do. A lot of this is probably folklore, but the premise still applies. So picks up this baby calf every single day, walks a mile, right? Sticks with it every single day, does the same thing. As the calf grows, gets bigger, heavier, stronger, Milo gets bigger, heavier, stronger. By slowly getting stronger through progressive overload every single day, he'll get bigger and stronger as he's lifting bigger and heavier weights progressively over time. That's how it works, right? That's how training works. So our goal, the main overall goal, if we could narrow it down to one thing, is to get as strong as possible in the 5 to 10 rep range. So if you think about it, a lot of power lifters, which if you're not too familiar with the powerlifting meet, their basically main goal is to squat, bench, and deadlift for 1 rep as much as possible, right? It's a 1 rep max. A lot of powerlifters don't look as strong as they actually are because anything less than 5 reps is not the best for increasing muscle size. But if you think about it, right, like picture somebody in your head that can bench press 315 pounds for 10 reps, squat 405 for 10 reps, and deadlift 600 for 10 reps. Like, that's going to be a huge individual. That's going to be a specimen of a person, right? The same cannot be said for somebody who has a huge 1 rep max on each of those lifts. So the 5 to 10 rep range is the sweet spot for getting bigger and stronger, right? Increasing muscle size and strength. So as strong as possible on key lifts in the 5 to 10 rep range is the name of the game, right? That's as simple as it gets. That's the goal. Another thing that's really good to simplify as far as picking your goal, you want to get bigger and stronger, right? Like increase your lifts while you're in a mass phase and then maintain your muscle strength and size while you're cutting, okay? Obviously still shoot for PRs when you're cutting, but maintaining your rep strength in that 5 to 10 rep range during a cut is a win, right? So if you start the cut and you're doing 225 for 10 on bench press, by the end of the cut, if you can still do that, it's safe to say that you've maintained all of the muscle and strength that you had in that rep range, and that's a win, okay? So try to increase your rep strength when you're massing, try to maintain it while you're cutting. So that's it for part 1, guys. To recap, get clear on why you're going to the gym in the first place, right? Like, why do you want to train, right? Get really clear on that. Number 2, get really clear on your goal, whether you're massing or cutting, right? Increasing muscle size and strength, maintaining muscle size and strength while losing fat, right? And then number 3, always simplify. Don't make things too complicated. Get as strong as possible in the 5 to 10 rep range to increase both muscle size and muscle strength, okay? In the next part, in part 2, we're going to talk about determining frequency, right? Like figuring out how many days per week we're going to go to the gym, how many sessions per week we're going to get in, and then also how to break down your split on those days and in those sessions. So catch you guys next time. Peace.